All right, let's head into the files of one of my old songs. Probably going to find some embarrassing stuff in here, so get ready for that. Okay, the song I chose to go back in time to is Stuck With Me. It's currently out on iTunes and Spotify. It's one of my old songs. That whole EP I consider pretty old. I like to think I've gotten better at songwriting and mixing, but I still have a sweet spot for this song. I still like it. It was probably my favorite one from the EP, so why not start it off with this song? I remember starting the song specifically with the bass, so here's what that sounds like. Pretty cool, I know. So I just used massive wah bass and then, put the LFO right here on it at 1/8, so it's playing eighth notes. And then I just have this sample here of, I think it's from a YouTube video, like a top 5 YouTuber video or something. Some ladies just like talking about what would happen if you didn't go outside. And that's what the song is about, kind of like shutting yourself in. It's talking about COVID and kind of rejoining the world after COVID.
Ever wondered what happens to your body when you stop going outside?
And I just have the over. And then I have the normal one right here.
Ever wondered?
And then it drops in that epic drop. With a lot of my old stuff, it tends to be like really bass heavy, like overpoweringly so. So that's something I'm working on now because I tend to just like bass a lot. But if I want like a balanced sound, I'm trying to not do that as much. I'm working on a new album right now and I have to go back on each song and like take away some of the bass. Here's the bass on the chorus. Massive wah bass again, but instead of having that LFO with the eighth notes, it's just one single note and then it's gliding from note to note. So I'm in love with those. I love that sound so much. Basically, it's dope. Again, this is just me like going through Logic sounds. This is like all pre-stock stuff that I'm just changing in the settings. But I'm just finding sounds and then adding on and taking away different parts of the sounds that I like and then creating something out of it. But I rarely use samples in my song. Usually it's all created from Logic. I rarely use plugins as well. I usually use like stock plugins. And that's why my music sucks. And then on the chorus, we also have these vibraphones. You can't really hear them in the chorus that much. They just kind of add an extra layer. It's just a little extra something something. And then we got the Arctic Sun. And then drums, I used audio instead of MIDI. There were certain sounds I wanted that I couldn't find. So I do sample like one-shots and stuff for drums quite a bit. I just put a ton of reverb on that. For me, I like to layer my drums a lot because it just kind of sounds flat and it doesn't have enough like drive and power. And then we got this guy. And then I think I just have a reversed riser on here to act as like a cymbal, a crash cymbal. But then you put it all together and... Anyway, let's get to the verse. So one of the layers I have is doubling what my vocal is doing. It's just the verse melody. Da-na, da-na, I know why that's so hard. And then we just got very simple drums. I like to take a lot of layers out during the verse and either build them in as the verse continues or wait till the chorus to drop them all in. And then we have these strings going. And then we have this wobble bass on the top. So as you can see, a lot of the low end is taken out of this thing just because I don't want it to sound full during the verse. I want the song to sound very ground level, very normal. And then when the chorus comes in, you add back in that bass and all of a sudden it sounds full and cool. And then I add some of the drums back in later. This time without reverb on the snare. And then audio, man, I wish I was better at mixing vocals. Here's the really embarrassing part of the video is that I don't have a bad voice necessarily, but I don't have like a voice where I can just sound good normally. So here's just the top layer. Wake up, clean up, get dressed. I know why that's so hard. That's the main thing. I'm super breathy, but that's kind of like an artistic choice. I want to get close and feel like I'm on the mic. And then I made it overly compressed and a little bit drivey. One thing that helps me make my voice sound better is the layering on the sides. This main vocal is sitting at -9, whereas these guys are at -24. So these are pretty quiet. Here's this crappy vocal. Wake up, clean up, get dressed. I know why it's so hard. So yeah, there's that vocal. It doesn't sound great on its own, but when you add it in with everything else, it starts to sound a lot better. So at the end of all that layering, you also got these guys. Wake up, clean up, get dressed. I know why it's so hard. I just did a like one note, just wake up, clean up, get dressed. It's super boring, sounds like crap on its own, but then when you add it in with everything, it kind of works. So here's the vocals, everything together. Wake up, clean up, get dressed. I know why that's so hard. And then you put it with the song. Wake up, clean up, get dressed. There you go. Verses are done. Okay, let us get into chorus vocals real quick. Here's that main lead one. My friends don't know who to call anymore. So, Kill Me, I hate my voice. So I have a de-esser on it. I have channel EQ. I don't really have like a process. It's very different each song, which gives it that less than quality vibe to it that I've come to know and love. I love Chromaverb. I have basic reverb on this. Decay, distance, you can see all the settings if you're a nerd, you stupid nerd idiot. Pitch correction, auto-tune, set on 84. Jeez, yeah. I have some pretty heavy auto-tune here, again, because I suck at singing. And then pedals, just to give it that squashed distortion feel. With all of those effects put into one, you get my friends don't know who to... And then I just doubled it and did the same thing on the right. My friends don't know who to... My friends don't know who to call anymore. Yeah, so I do this a lot with backup vocals. I crank the auto-tune like all the way up. I don't like it when you can hear the auto-tune super clearly, but you don't notice it when it's just in the full mix. It just adds another layer of fullness. And if I'm going to add another layer of fullness, you best believe all the notes are going to be hitting the exact note I want them to hit. And then I should have high vocals probably with the robotic auto-tune as well. I don't have autotune on those. Interesting. I think it's because those tend to stand out more, so I probably didn't want to make it too obvious that there's a bunch of autotune going on. But you get those layers. My friends don't... Sounds like... And then you put these vocals on top. My friends don't know who to call anymore. And all of a sudden, the background vocals, you can't hear as much, but they do add like an extra cool layer on there. And then you put everything, all the, the chorus instruments that I showed you from before, on top of those vocals, and you get... My friends don't know who to call anymore. And then you get into the bridge. In my older EP, I was a huge fan of each bridge. I'd break down and then build up and then last chorus. That was like my favorite thing to do, and I did it in this song. I did a lot of songs. It is one of my favorite things to do for a bridge. I just like taking the whole song down. But in the next album, I tried to differentiate a little bit more and either not rely on a bridge, and some songs just don't have them if I felt like they're already long enough, or I would stay loud for the bridge on some of them and keep the energy up. I don't know. I like to get a little bit funky with it. So yeah, for the bridge, it goes all the way down, drops down to these strings. It just reminds me of a Disney Pixar short film for some reason. So I had that, and I have, I think, basic drums. Very muted, very muffled drums. Because again, I want to take it down as far as I can so that I can build it up later. Dynamics. And then I have this guy, which is just the YouTube video vocal sampled and tuned down. And then I have my vocal chopped up from the verse, I believe, and then it's got some effects on it to make it sound all tubular. Wake up, clean up, get dressed. And I have it panned over to the left, or I guess for you it's that way, but for me it's that way. And I add in this one right here. Wake up, wake up, wake wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Man, I could not tell you what possessed me to do that, but I put it in and now it's there.
That's what she said.
So yeah, next time you're listening to this song, you can be like, wake up, wake up. So on top of the strings, I also add some vibraphones from before back in, and they're just kind of like entering very slow. So I start adding layers as we go. The drums start building. And all this time I'm starting to chop up the vocals a lot more. So the idea with chopping up these vocals was I wanted it to sound like, I mean, the verse talks about kind of getting into a routine and feeling very like set and not wanting to go outside of that, go outside of your house, go outside of the routine that you've set for yourself. So I wanted the bridge to really reflect that stuck in routine kind of feeling. So it's very like repetitive, just over and over and over again. You just get dressed, just walk out the front door, all the normal, just things that you're going through in your head and you talk to yourself. And then I also have these guys layered at the very end. Just to really drive that home, just, oh my gosh, you're stuck in this loop. And then we also got this layer kind of going crazy in the back. Bet you didn't notice that the first time through. And then you have the...
Ever wondered?
And then it drops in. For the bass, right before the drop, I have this guy. All I did was I took this note and I made it super, super quiet so you barely hear it. And I have it, I think, 2 octaves above the note that I actually want to hit. And I'm sure there's a better way to do this, but this is just how I did it back in the day. So I put the glide, I turned the glide up so it takes a long time to travel from one note to the next one. And I put the first note real high and the second note real low. So it goes, ew. And then I also have a noise, and I think that's the snare over here. It's just auto filter. So let's listen to the drop from here and hear how it comes in.
Ever wondered?
Boom, baby. And then you're back into the chorus. So after the last chorus, you have the instrumental just playing it out. And then I also have the verse put in the back on your left. Just walk out the front door. And it's way too drivey, and I would fix that nowadays, but I didn't back then. So yeah, this song was really, it was therapeutic for me, just talking about like quarantine, being stuck, and I didn't really deal with like major social anxiety. I guess I don't really now, but I didn't really deal with it at all before quarantine, and then it's almost like I lost social skills over the time of quarantine. It was like weird interacting with people I hadn't seen, and I all of a sudden was a lot more conscious of how I was acting. Maybe for the better, maybe for the worse, who knows? But this song, yeah, it was therapeutic, talking about the fact that it's difficult to kind of come back out into the world. And I hope you can relate if you're listening, because I mean, maybe it can be therapeutic for you too. But yeah, this was one of my favorites off the EP. We'll go over the other songs in the EP as well, but I thought I'd start with my favorite because I don't like to wait to do things that I want to do. I love to wait to do things I don't want to do. Anyway, thanks for watching.